Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I wanted to do an update on my 2019 Project Pan, but before I did, thank you so much if you are a new subscriber. I know that my channel is very small, and as of recording this, I have just under 900 subscribers. It's like 895 subscribers, and I went from just under 800 to this point in like 3 weeks, and I was like, what? That's awesome. So I've been really so delighted by you supporting me in what I do here on YouTube. My goal has never been to be like a big, massive influencer. It's just to share what I love with other people who love the same sort of thing. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't, would you please? All right, so my Project Pan, somebody dubbed it my Project Loaf Pan because I needed a place to keep it all. And I found this loaf pan in my kitchen, and I needed because the minute I start putting things away in drawers and they're not visible, it's not gonna get seen, it's not gonna get used. So I put it all in here, and I wanted to go over it with you today. And I'm gonna tell you, some things got finished, hooray, hooray, and some things did not. And some things I was kind of like, ugh, and actually got pitched. So let's start out with the first thing on my list. It was this. This is the Backlight Priming Filter from Becca. I still have about as much as I started this year with. I realized I just don't use this. And it would be one thing if I were to leave it on my bathroom counter where I could use it on the days that I don't wear any makeup, you know, put on all of my skincare, put on my sunscreen, and then put on a glowy primer like this. It might be pretty, but the truth is I just don't use it. So I think that I've had this for long enough, and I still have like maybe an inch at the bottom. It might actually be time to just let it go. The next thing I am so happy to say I finally finished. It was the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream Plus Illumination. It's the one that comes in the pink tube. I will throw a picture of it up for you. But what I can tell you is it worked pretty well. It had more coverage than I remember it having. And I wasn't able to really fall in love with it when I first got it. Even though it was a shade fair, it was still too dark for me. But this year was the perfect year for me to use it up because I got more sun this summer and my skin got just a little bit darker than it has been in years. And I went from being deathly pale, like vampire scary pale, to just fair skinned. And that fair, which I always thought was more comparable to like, if you were to go fair, light, medium, it was more like light in spectrum as opposed to fair in spectrum. But the truth was I was able to finish it this year. I did like it, but I don't know that I loved it enough to go and get it again. The next two items I have for you are concealers. They're right here. This is the Retoucher from Tilbury. I finally, just this week, finished this up. I got to the point where I was clicking and nothing else was coming out, and I was so grateful. I was like, oh, thank goodness. The one thing I will tell you is there are several different concealers from Tilbury. There's the Retoucher, which is very much like the Touche Éclat from YSL. And there is her Magic Away concealer. It has like a little window in it. So you can see where you are like halfway through, 3/4 of the way through. You're only riding in on fumes now. You only have a few miracle clicks left. And I wish this had the similar packaging so I could see where I was. But this is one of those that, although it does have some light reflecting particles, it is very, very, very light coverage. And this is what I used during the summer on days when I really didn't want to wear makeup. I'd put a little bit of this just like inner corner and like right here, a little dot on the outside corner where I have a little bit of darkness, a little bit corners of the nose to get rid of some of the redness, and brush a little something like a tinted brow gel through my brows and some lipstick that I would put here and then a little bit on my cheeks. Like the very minimalist makeup ever. That was my favorite way to use this because I fell in love with a new concealer this year. It's not really new, but it was new to me. And it was so amazing, so incredible. And it's so much coverage that I had a hard time going back to this. It is lovely. If you really don't need a lot of concealing, this would be nice. As I drop it, it would be really nice for you. I don't necessarily like the applicator, like the brush applicator. I think there might be better ways to do that. I do like this better than the sponge tip on the other Tilbury, but I don't think I would repurchase this. It's nice to finally be done with it, but there's another kind of lighter weight concealer that I feel does just as good a job as this, maybe a little bit more coverage for my dark circles, which are still very prominent today. The other concealer that I've been trying to finish up was the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and I have the shade Chantilly. So I didn't really think I was going to finish this, but I will tell you it's more than half gone. Like, I am so surprised at what a big divot there is here in the middle, like a lot. It is a very high coverage concealer. I used to really like this, especially under the eyes, and it does have a nice kind of creamy matte. And the older I get, the more I realize, even though this is beautiful and it blends out nicely and you can really hardly see it, I need a little bit more coverage right here and a little bit more dewiness. And so although this is lovely, this is better for my hyperpigmentation spot, better for when I get blemishes on my chin, better for redness around the corners of my nose, and not necessarily under the eyes. And I discovered that when I fell in love with a more hydrating concealer this year. So I've been using this less and less, but it still is a very good concealer. It's probably just not a favorite like it used to be. So the powder that I put in my project pan was one of these, and I had already finished it. Didn't have a lot left, but it was the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in the shade Diffused Light. It had just a little bit in the corners. The terracotta tile was already showing. And I'm one of those people that once I'm almost done, I'm like, and I'm done. And I'm like, you're not really done. This is an expensive powder, so I got to the point where I was using a smaller brush. I actually, not this brush, what brush did I use? I actually picked up a brush like this. It's a little teeny tiny Wayne Goss brush. And the problem I was having was that I had used everything up in the center and there was just corners and edges left. So I took a small brush and I started doing this, and then I would use that to set my under eyes with. I would use that to set corners of my nose with. And the one thing that I learned is that a smaller brush like this is really great for precision placement of powder. But it was also a really great way for me to help finish up using an expensive powder, because I got to the point where the terracotta tile was bare. And I was like, I didn't want to throw it away with there still being product on there, because this is such a gorgeous product. It is probably, I've had one of these in my collection for more than a decade. And every time I finish it, I buy another one. I finish it, I buy another one. This is the one powder I have not been without for probably the last almost 12 years when I finally first discovered it. I've been in love, always have one, always continue to repurchase. I cannot say enough good about this powder. My goal for this year was to hit pan. Now, I will tell you that when I was trying to pan these products, if I could finish them, that'd be great. I didn't really think I was going to be able to finish this. I think it had been the only bronzer I used all year. Oh yeah, I could have done that. But what I did do, this looked basically brand new. And as you can see, there's a lot of wear in here. There's a lot of texture here. It definitely goes from being high in the corner to really dipping down here in the middle. And that was my goal, was to really get some significant use out of this. I don't know how much longer before I actually hit pan right here in the middle. And if I'm not mistaken, these are poured in on kind of like a little mesh grid. So I would be interested to see how close I am to hitting that. But I did really love this color. This is the color that I wanted a lot of my other bronzers to be, and they just weren't quite. They were either too dark or too warm. And this is a beautiful bronzer for me, and I can use it and not be as careful as I need to. I really, really, really like this. And I have used it probably out of everything here. Maybe one other thing I used as much as I used this, because I would pull for it on days that I wasn't just taking the loaf pan to the bathroom mirror and putting on my makeup. I was using this multiple times throughout the year. Really still like it. And even though it probably won't be in my project pan for 2020, I still see myself reaching for this on the regular. It's beautiful. When it came to blush for this project pan, my goal was to put in 2 shades. So I'd have one for warm tone looks and one for cool tone looks. And the truth is, I put too much blush in here. I also put in ones that I love, but were kind of neutral enough that I realized I have a lot of blush that are these tones. The first one is this one. This is from Makeup Geek. It pulls really pink on camera, but it's more peachy pink. This was my more cool toned one, and peachy pink doesn't sound very cool toned, but it was. This one's called Blind Date. And then this one, this is from the Balm. This is Balm Desert. And this one, they say you can use it as a bronzer or a blush, but I always find that when I stick my finger in this, although it does look very bronzy, it does have kind of a terracotta, almost peachy warm vibe to it. And it looks more like blush on me than bronzer. So I've always used it as blush, and it's definitely a favorite of mine. I can tell that there is a significant dip here in the middle, and there really wasn't when this year started. This one here, no. I rarely pulled into this. The thing is, though, it's pigmented enough. It's what I'm wearing today. It's one of those that it's bright enough. I need the smallest amount. So blush is not a thing that I go through. I can't remember the last time I panned a blush. I can't. Panned a blush. I thought it felt like I said panda blush. All right, so I can't remember the last time I actually finished one of these guys, but I think I made better headway on this than this, although they're both still really favorite colors. I was super surprised at how quickly I made headway on my highlight for the year. I put a highlight palette in. And there were days that I would take my blush and go across all 3 shades, but the one shade that I loved the most was the center shade, and it's from Glamglow's Hyaluronic Acid Highlighting. Look at that. That's huge pan! And I knew I wasn't going to really finish it, but this center color here was really my favorite. I was really thinking that this kind of icier, slightly pink-leaning blush highlight right here would be the one that would really work for me. This one is definitely too deep for my skin tone, but there have been days, especially in the summer, where I'll just take like this and just go boop, knock off the excess and hit the high points of my face. But most of this year was spent right here. I still do really love this highlighting palette. I did see it on sale on Sephora's website, which kind of makes me feel like they're probably discontinuing this as a product, and it will be no more. It has still the very slightest, faintest creamsicle scent to it. I always thought that was fun. I do like that it reminds me of like the bar of soap from Fight Club. You know that reference. But I did really make really good headway on this. And I feel like it's nice to see it go from being like, it looked like this to like this. I feel like I did a really good job this year with this. And I didn't expect to finish it all, but at least to see some pan. And I'm glad I got to that point. So I had a eyeshadow palette in here that I really wanted to work on for this year for my project pan. And the truth is, when I finally started really reaching for it on the regular in mid-spring is when I realized that it wasn't performing the way it did when I first got it. It was from Smashbox. It was one of their, I think they were 7 shades in a palette, you know, 5 up here and then 2 larger ones at the top. I'm forgetting the name of those palettes, but the one that I had was called Golden Hour. What I have found is that the formula changed and didn't perform the same way. It got very powdery, and then I felt like I was putting on eyeshadow, and halfway through the day I didn't have on eyeshadow anymore. And for that reason, I decluttered it because I didn't want to try and make it work or have to worry about reapplying throughout the day, because who has time for that? I want to put it on and know it's going to be there when I'm done at the end of the day. So that one got decluttered. The other palette that I put in there was this. And this is what I'm wearing today. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. I was sure I was going to hit pan on at least 2 shades. I only hit pan on 1, and it was the one I really thought I was going to hit pan on, like right here. This one, and it's just barely. But the truth is, I have this thing where I try really hard not to just gouge the middle. Eventually, that is what happens to all of my products that I pan. I hit pan in the middle first, but I try very hard, like if I have a brush like this, I'll hit this corner, and then 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 I'll hit the middle. Because the last thing I want to do is to have a product where you have pan exposed in the middle. Because I have found so many times with powders, with blushes, with eyeshadows, that when that happens, it doesn't take more than a small little accidental tap or drop, and that one pan that is now compromised because it has that hole in the middle, shatters instantly. And I never want to have that happen. I'm always as careful as I can be with my makeup, but accidents happen. So have always tried really hard. I never liked the look of makeup that was like a really big dip in the middle. I know it's silly and OCD of me, but I've always been that way with all of my makeup. So for me to have like divots in any pan is really significant for me. But I knew I was going to hit pan on this one, and I was hoping I would hit pan on at least another. And I didn't. It still performs really well. I still have fun using it. I didn't use it as much as I meant to this year, but I definitely used it more since it was in my project pan than I would have had it just been part of my regular collection. I put a couple of eye pencils in my project pan for this year. They were both from Lancome. They were the Drama Liqui-Pencils. And one was in the shade Aubergine, which was kind of a beautiful plummy purple shade. And then there's this one in Brun. This one has gotten really short. As a pencil that sharpens, I've used more than half of it. But the one thing that I noticed, I would say probably this fall, I've been using them, sharpening them and using them. I got to the point where I was no longer able to use them in my waterline because they just wouldn't stick. And for me, since I have a very watery left eye, I try not to use eyeliner on the top because I end up doing this a lot. And as I do this, I smudge my eyeliner. I smudge a lot of things, but my eyeliner will not stay on my upper lid line. And then the minute I start, dabbing it with my finger, with my leaky left eye, I am removing makeup there. And then I have a very uneven look going. So I'd only been using this in my waterline, just in my tight line. And then when I couldn't get it to lay down anymore, I decided it was time to declutter both of them. So I already have the Aubergine one in my, I think I threw it away already. I just think they're too old. They were really a beautiful formula when I first picked them up, but I've had them now for a couple of years and it's time to let them go. I'll throw up a picture of you of the eyebrow product that I'd been trying to get through this year, which I was so grateful to say I finally got through. It was from Lancome. It was their Crayon Poudre. Now it's a formula they no longer make. And I'd had it for a solid 2 years and it was my favorite pencil for the brows ever because it was the first brow pencil I'd ever purchased. For years, I didn't put anything in my brows, and it wasn't until my 30s, I think, that I started using brow pencils. So from my teens all the way through my 20s, my brows were kind of non-existent. What I loved about the Lancome Le Crayon Poudre was that it was a pencil formula, but as you brushed it through with a spoolie, I was really able to get a very light, very powdery look. And my favorite shade was taupe. I finally finished it up and I was so kind of sad because it had been probably maybe 15 years that I'd always had at least one of those in my collection. Finish one, go and buy another, finish it, go and buy another. And I'd gone through multiples of those and they don't make the formula anymore. They changed it and I've heard nothing but bad reviews about the current version of that pencil. But it was kind of like the end of an era for me. And it's like, oh, you served me well. I loved you so much. So the mascara, it's almost impossible not to finish a mascara when you put it in a project pan. So the one that I was trying to get through was one that had come in a BoxyCharm. It was from Wander Beauty. It was their Unlash Volume and Curl Mascara. It came kind of like in a little red squeezy tube, and it was weird because as you twist off the top, I'm just gonna show you with this mascara, but as you twist off the top, the packaging was like a squeezy tube and I could squeeze air in and out of it. And I just felt like it was really, really easy to get air in there because you take the wand out and just kind of goes and it just sucks the air in. I'm just like, you're drying out the product. And I'm sure the same happens with one of these more rigid tubes. But the truth was, it was an okay mascara. It didn't give me any curl. It did give me volume. But I don't know that it'd be one that I would ever repurchase, but it was nice to finally use a product that I'd gotten in a BoxyCharm and finish it up. I put a ton of lip products in my project pan for 2019, and that was the stupidest thing ever. My thinking was the more I have, I'll be able to rotate through these, and I think there were 16 shades. I'm looking at my notes here. There were 16 shades. How I thought I could get through 16 lipsticks in a year. It's kind of crazy. But let me talk to you about how I did and what my goals are for this coming year. All right, so the first lipstick that I had on my list was this one here from Jane Iredale. This is the shade Margie. Now, it doesn't look like I got through a lot of it, but if you wind it all the way down, it goes down to like here. So for a red lipstick, I felt like I did pretty good with this one. I used it a lot. It's a really beautiful shade. It was very comfortable to wear. This one, I basically forgot all about it. This is from Tony Moly. There's not a lot left. This is their Petite Bunny Gloss Bar in the shade, what's the shade on this? Juicy Cherry. It's only in Korean on the side, and I don't read Korean, but I did use that in my purse in the summertime a lot. It's very hydrating, comfortable, but I just realized I had so much else I was trying to use that that one kind of got forgotten because it's not really a lipstick. And I wear lipstick every day of the week. Even on days I'm not actually wearing makeup, I'm still wearing lipstick. So I guess I am wearing makeup, but I'll have nothing else on my face. Like yesterday, I didn't have a thing on and I was wearing a bright red lipstick. That's just how I am. I always wear lipstick. I did have down a MAC Patent Polish lipstick in the shade Ruby. I finished that. I was so proud of myself. I'd had that for like 2 years. I was like, I'm gonna power through this. And I did, and it was a beautiful color, very comfortable. I don't know that I'd buy another one. I went through an entire Lipstick Queen Medieval. This is my favorite red lipstick. Now this was brand new in July or August when I finally opened this one, and I'm at least a third of the way through. This is possibly the most perfect red ever because it's sheer, it's buildable, it's glossy, it's gorgeous. It's everything I ever wanted in a red lipstick. So the one that I had on in this project pan for 2019, I already finished, but this is one of those, like the Hourglass powder, I am never without this shade. This was probably not a very good choice. This is from NARS. This is their satin lip pencil in the shade Luxembourg. I love this pencil. It is a beautiful kind of raspberry pinky red. So it has more of that raspberry hot pink lean to it, but it does read very red on the lips. I love this pencil so, so much. And I think out of both the matte and the gloss, the satin formula out of these pencils from NARS is my favorite. I love this one so, so much, but I don't know, because it is so highly pigmented, how I thought I'd be able to get through all of this unless it was the only lipstick I wore. I was sure I wasn't gonna have a problem getting through this. This is a little mini of the YSL Tatouage Couture Matte Stain in the shade number 1. The truth is, I've only worn this a handful of times this year. I have 4 of these full-size YSL Tatouage Couture Matte Stains. They're beautiful, I love them. This is shade number 10. But this, you see the difference in the red? This is more of a blue red, this is more of a tomato red, and when I want a hot red, this is beautiful. And it's one of the maybe 2 or 3 liquid lipstick formulas I actually like. But I didn't finish it. I was praying I wouldn't actually finish this. This is one of the red velvet lipsticks from Lisa Eldridge. This was the shade that I wore yesterday with no makeup, no concealer, no brows, no nothing, just red lips. This is Velvet Ribbon. It is the most perfect red lip in the world. I love this. I have all 3 of Lisa's red velvets, and this is the one that I reach for the most. I do like the orangey red Velvet Morning, and I do like the deeper brick red, the Velvet Jazz, but this one here, I just wear it all the time. Now, compared to a lot of other lipsticks, it has seen quite a lot of wear, like it's not as perfect as it used to be, but I always end up, when I apply it, I always end up being able to keep the slant on lipstick. I don't know what that is, not everybody does, but that's one of the things it might be the same reason why I like to make sure that when I'm panning a product, I reach all the corners, I don't have a divot in the middle. I want it to look as perfect as possible. This still looks very similar to what it looked like when I first got it, but I do love this lipstick. I'm glad I didn't pan it for this year, but it is probably my most reached for red shade. I did finish another lipstick, and it really wasn't a lipstick, it's more like a lip gloss in a stick, and it was from Tarte. It was their Rescue, what was it called? Their Quench Lip Rescue. I'd gotten it in a Sephora Give Me More lip kit. It was one of the Christmas full-size items in the set from 2 years ago, from 2017. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use it. And I loved it. And I keep thinking about it on the regular because it is a very glossy formula. It's a very hydrating formula. It's a very nourishing formula. And the shade that I had was nude. It was beautiful. It also came in really cute, tall and thin, you know, more of a formula, like more of a packaging like this where it's tall and skinny. But instead of being metal like this, the packaging was cardboard with a really cute print on it. And each shade has a different print on the outside. I was like, hello, I love you. And it's the second one of those that I've gone through. So I realized that that's a lip product because it is glossy and it is hydrating. It is one that I could continually see myself repurchasing. Haven't purchased it yet because I'm kind of on a no lipstick purchase after my declutter. But I think that if I was ever looking for a hydrating, glossy, not too much, but just enough, that would be definitely near the top of my list. Another item that I was able to finish this year was a lip gloss from ColourPop. It's not this one, but it looks just like this. And the shade was Here's to You. And I will tell you, I have found that these lip glosses, they don't last forever. I feel like this one still smells good, but they go from smelling really like nice and slightly sweet to all of a sudden smelling extremely chemically and almost like rancid oil, which is not a good scent. And I found that the shades that I love the most and that I keep in the ones that live in my purse and I'm constantly applying, Here's to You is one of those shades. That shade I was able to finish because it was the right shade for me. Like, this is a nice shade. This one here is called PS, but I don't love it as much as I love Here's to You, so it's not always being reached for. And I think that when it comes to ColourPop glosses, because they do go bad in a short amount of time, I would feel like unless you have the absolutely perfect shade, don't buy more than one, maybe two at a time, and only shades you really think you're gonna love and use. Otherwise, they're just gonna go bad on you. So I was grateful to finish up a ColourPop gloss. I didn't find it difficult to finish it up, but I will tell you the other ones that I have left, although they're nice and they're pretty colors, I don't know that I'm gonna get through them before they as well go bad. I have been trying for months to finish this. This is like the never-ending lip gloss. Did you ever hear that story as a kid at church of, you know, the oil that never ended? Like the woman who kept pouring oil into more jugs to go and sell. That's what this reminds me of, like the lip gloss that never ends. It's always more. It's a miraculous lip gloss. This is from Too Faced. It's their Sweet Peach Creamy Lip Oil. And this is the shade Papa Don't Peach. Now you can see that, like right here, that's just where, you know, I'm going through and there's still some left, but there's a lot of it that's gone. But I just feel like I'm never going to be done with this. And I keep going, yeah, you're still good. I'm going to keep using you. I have it on today. I'm going to put a little more on now in hopes to finish it. I do like this color. I don't know that I would buy this specific lip gloss again. First of all, it's kind of expensive. It's in, what, high teens, low 20s. Although I really do like the formula and it lasts forever. So maybe it should be a recommendation. Maybe I should say, this is the lip gloss to get if you want one that's gonna last you forever. But the one thing I'll tell you is I'm kind of bored with it now. And although the color was a really pretty color and I am kind of like, I'm no longer inspired. Now I'm just like, I will finish you if it's the last thing I do. I've been meaning to use this all year and I just haven't. It did make it through my lip declutter. This is from Flower Beauty. This is their Hydra Silk Ultimate Lip Butter. This is the shade Rose Petal. It's a beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I've used like at least down to here when I roll it all the way down. So that's a lot for someone who has as many lipsticks as I do. I have used this one a lot. There is still a lot to go, but I'll tell you, I did use it a lot this year and I used it the most when I put it in my purse and it was one of the few neutrally pink things that I needed, you know, would go with just about any look. And also on days that I wasn't wearing makeup. And it's a great, comfortable, slightly glossy, little bit of color, not too much. I really liked it. There is another lipstick that I finished and I was so proud of myself for finishing it. It was an Urban Decay lipstick. It was called Ex-Girlfriend. It was part of the Gwen Stefani and Urban Decay collaboration that came out, I think, was at the beginning of 2018? No. Might have been late 2017. I don't remember when it was. I'll have to put the date on the screen for you because I just don't remember. But that lipstick was beautiful. And it was the perfect pinky nude. It was creamy. It was one of those, there are very few nude lipsticks that I can wear on a no makeup day. I usually end up wearing something brighter like a fuchsia or a red or, you know, kind of a nudie pink. But like a nude lipstick, I've been to Ulta so many times and almost purchased that lipstick again because it was so beautiful and so comfortable and so fantastic. So it is on the top of my nude lipsticks to repurchase. I really, really, really like it, but I'm glad I actually finished it. So this lipstick here was one of those that I wanted to finish and I never did. This is the Lancome L'Absolu lipstick in the shade Beige Mirage. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. The one thing I will say is if you can see like right in here where it says Lancome on the bullet, that there used to, like the top to where it said Lancome mid bullet, there used to be a lot more lipstick on here. So I have used it a lot, even though it still looks like it's basically brand new. I have used it a lot because the N, C, and O on here are starting to get smudged from application. Now, what I should have done is once I finished Ex-Girlfriend, I should have dropped this in my purse as my nude lipstick to put on with whatever. And I did try it a couple of times, but I find that I like this better when it's layered over other lipsticks or used with a lip liner. Because Ex-Girlfriend from Urban Decay had a little bit more pink lean to it. This is definitely more of a neutrally nude. And it's one of those that when I'm wearing it, I definitely feel more like concealer lips. And on a no makeup day, I can't really pull that off. I've been trying to get through this lipstick and I'm about halfway through. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Halfway through this, and this is a mini of the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Matte Lipstick in the shade Boss. It's a beautiful color. It's a great formula. This is one of those, oh, it smells like chocolate mint. I forgot that it smells like chocolate. It's delicious. Okay, so it smells really, really, really good. The one thing I will tell you, the formula is nice. This is one of the few matte lipstick formulas that I like because it doesn't really dry down and never makes my feel like a desert. So I love this formula. And a lot of the nudes in this line are beautiful. Boss is my favorite. I definitely did pretty well in getting like halfway through it, but there was no way I was going to get all the way through it. Another lipstick that I was finally able to finish up was one from Lipstick Queen. I don't have it anymore, but it was the shade Hello Sailor. It's one of the lipsticks that, this is the first time when I finished it this year, I didn't go and repurchase another. And it's the first time I've been without that shade in probably 8 years. It's very much like Medieval. It's like a vitamin E bullet. The bullet though is blue. And when you apply it, it goes from being blue to being kind of like a plummy mauve tone. And on my lips, it was very sheer, very glossy, very hydrating. It's basically a vitamin E stick. And then that little hint of kind of mauve plum. It was just gorgeous. And the great thing about it is because there was also a lot of blue in there, it made my teeth look super, super white. So it was great for no makeup days and I would use it like chapstick. So between Medieval and Hello Sailor, I plowed through those this year. I'm sad to not have it and I'm gonna wait until I've used more lipsticks before I go and buy more. That's my goal. The last one I'll tell you is this one. This is from Neutrogena. This is their Moisture Smooth Color Stick in the shade Almond Nude. I actually used quite a bit of this and that's all that I have left. They normally come like about twice this size. I don't know what made me think I needed to throw this in there because this was brand new when I put it in my It was brand new when I put it in my project pan, but I've used this one a lot and I really, really, really love this shade. So that's what was in my project pan for 2019. A lot of things I finished. I'm glad to have gotten through mascaras and hit pan on highlighters and finished a ton of lipsticks. Like I'm really surprised at how many I actually got through, but it really does come down to I need to be more thoughtful in making purchases this coming year. I'm gonna do a whole video on how my purchasing habits are gonna change and I'm trying to be more thoughtful about that. And then on top of that, making sure I more carefully utilize what I have here in my makeup collection because it's a shame to have so many lip products and not use them to their full capacity. So thank you so much for watching today. Let me know if you've ever done a project pan. Let me know if the idea is overwhelming because maybe you have a lot and how could you ever finish it all? Or maybe it kind of spurs you on to, yeah, that's something I should definitely try and see what the products are that I really get a lot of use out of. I would love to know what your take is on project pans, whether you do one, whether you're not interested in it. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being subscribed. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.